Hello everybody, I'm here to make a video about the Black Panther movie and talking about the subliminal messages in the movie that a lot of people will overlook, but when you watch the movie and you pay close attention to it and you start seeing certain themes, you'll realize that there's some messages that are being pushed that it really is something that should be watched out for. I'm not saying that the movie is bad. It's a good movie. It's a good movie, but just watch it with your eye open, because people need to know one thing. Now, people can talk about how this movie is, blackity black black black, and pro black this and pro black that, and is African centered, etc., etc. But people need to know that, especially black people, y'all need to know that when a white man puts anything in the media, anything in theaters, there's a reason for it. Now, white people do not put movies in their theaters or in the TV if there's no agenda and motive behind it. These fake white Jews, they control what we see on TV. They control what we see in the theaters. They're the ones that approve or disapprove whether or not a movie or a show will be available to the public eye, will be, aired out, put in theaters, put on TV. Now, just think about it. What is in the movie of the Black Panther that the white supremacists, these fake white Jews, these white elites who are, also white supremacists, ask yourself what's in the movie that the white supremacist is trying to brainwash you with, that the white man may try to use to brainwash you, brainwash black folks, push propaganda. Pretty much every single so-called black movie that's out there, the reason why it's out there, the reason why it's been put out to the public eye, to the theaters, to the media, etc., is because every last one of them has a hidden message. Every last one of them has some kind of subliminal messages that a lot of black folks overlook. Every last one of them has messages that also, kind of affects your subconscious mind. Now, you won't know about that because you're just thinking it's just a movie, but it is indeed entering your subconscious mind. Now, let's get to the subliminal messages. One of the subliminal messages is divide and conquer. It's to push disunification amongst black people. Like the Black Panther, the guy that plays Black Panther, he's a Wakanda guy. He's, born and raised in Wakanda. He's, totally Wakanda. His cousin, Eric Killmonger, he's also, a Wakanda guy. But the thing that makes him different is that he was raised in America. His father, when his father went to America, his father is a Wakanda man. When his father went to America, he had a child with an African American woman. That man symbolizes the African American. Eric Killmonger symbolizes the African American, having a father who is from Wakanda, went to America, and, had a child with the American woman who was black, and had Eric. There's actually a scene where Eric and his father were having a conversation, and Eric asked his father how come he's never shown him Wakanda, and Eric's father responds to him, he's afraid that he will be considered a lost. Like, pretty much, he said that he might be considered lost. You know how African Americans, they feel lost, and some Africans don't accept them because some Africans consider them lost people of Africa, etc. So Eric's father literally, told him that he's afraid that he'll be considered lost by the Wakanda people. Eric Killmonger symbolizes the African American, and then Eric has a cousin who is, totally Wakanda. Two parents are from Wakanda and born and raised in Wakanda. And then, these two guys, they fight in the movie. And some may say, well, they were fighting for the throne, etc., etc. But it's more than that. Like, it was like some kind of hatred. It's like the vibe that Eric was putting towards his cousin, the Black Panther, was like, some kind of negativity. If you pay attention to some of the things that he says in the movie, you'll be like, you know, this is some divide and conquer bullshit. Like, some of the things he says is like, oh, pretty much, you know, kind of giving off the African American, you know, struggle, the African American life, the African American this, that, and the other. Eric, I remember he made some messages like, you know, like when he was fighting with his brother and eventually his brother kills him. I mean his cousin, not his brother. His cousin, the Black Panther, eventually kills him. You know, he has said something about how, like, he'd rather be thrown in the ocean, like you know, have his body be put in the ocean, just like how, you know, his ancestors jumped off the ships and went into the ocean because they knew that it's better to die than being held in bondage. The Black Panther was going to save Eric. The Black Panther, he was going to heal him. They have the powers to heal, you know, wounds and bodies. Like, they have the power in that movie. So, you know, but Eric said no, that I'd rather just, you know, die than be held in bondage. And so, you know, and then he made other statements too. I can't recall all of it. You know, y'all go watch the movie and you'll see it, but, you know, you'll pay attention to how, you know, he says things that pretty much is like, you know, African American, and then he's gearing it towards his cousin who was like a Wakanda. And yes, Eric does, you know how to speak the Wakanda language. He knows, you know, he does speak it a little bit in the movie, and especially to prove that he's of Wakanda. So it's not as if he's not like, oh, you know, I don't want to be African. He's a proud Wakanda man, but the thing is that these two black men who are blood relatives, they were fighting each other throughout the whole movie. And it's like, you know, how African Americans and Africans who are, you know, relatively related because we are of the same race, we come from the same continents. Every single black American or African American person out here in the world has an African family in the motherland. We're pretty much actually cousins. You know, whenever African Americans take their ancestry test and they find certain matches, and it will show 7th cousin, 5th cousin, 8th cousin. So, you know, pretty much Africans and African Americans are cousins. Everybody who is African American out here, y'all have a family who is in the motherland, lost, long detached because of the history of slavery. That's why I don't engage in the divide and conquer nonsense on social media. I don't engage in a African American versus African nonsense. So anyways, back to the topic. You know, and to further on my point, there's another actor in the movie. He's a white man. You know, the white man whose name is what's his name? Yeah, Everett. You know, the white man, throughout the whole movie, that man was welcomed with open arms. That man was not questioned, you know, whether or not he's of Wakanda. That man was not treated or being outcasted. I mean, in the movie, they question Eric, whether or not Eric is a Wakanda, whether or not he's an outsider, whether or not he's this, that, and the third. In fact, they did call him an outsider. In the movie, they consider Eric an outsider, even though his father is a Wakanda man. His father is the Black Panther's father's brother. So that's what makes them cousins. But despite that, they're still questioning and talking about whether or not he's an outsider, and they consider him an outsider. Now, that was some, you know, divide and conquer bullshit. How the hell can he be an outsider? Just because he was raised in America does not make him an outsider. He has Wakanda blood in his veins. But y'all don't, you know, they didn't talk about the white man being an outsider, though. They didn't, you know, question the white man being an outsider, though. They weren't concerned about the white man being an outsider, though. They weren't, you know, treating a white man like an outsider. They weren't doing, you know, all that stuff to the white man. The man was accepted with open arms. You know, I mean, this movie, it literally, you know, kind of does touch up on the history in Africa when foreigners and colonizers and conquerors came to Africa. In history, Africans were hospitable. They were open arms with outsiders, open arms with white folks. They accepted, these people as if they were their own. And eventually what happened, these people showed their true colors and they decided to, colonize us and enslave us. And yeah, the white man. But in the movie, you'll notice that another mistake that our ancestors did in history was that we taught, white folks and gave them our knowledge, gave them a lot of information about us, about the ways we live life, our secrets, our shit, our information, all the valuable information. They gave it away. And now in the movie, this white man, at some point in the movie, you'll see how the Wakanda, I believe the Black Panther's sister. The Black Panther's sister, she had played a large role in revealing a lot of information about Wakanda and their vibranium, and pretty much in that laboratory. She had shown and told a lot about the things in the laboratory. The Black Panther sister, she's not the only one, but she did play a role in saying a lot of stuff about Wakanda, revealing a lot of stuff. Especially in the laboratory, she revealed a lot and kind of spoke too much to a foreigner, to an outsider. She's a good example of what our African ancestors did in the past that, led to our demise, a big mistake in which the white man used against us. And when this white man was wounded, I forgot how he was wounded, but when this white man was wounded, Everett, that's his name, he was taken to get healed. They healed that white man. The Black Panther sister's laboratory, where she does all this, she makes all these technologies, and pretty much, a lot of stuff happens in that laboratory. A lot of stuff. So, and when this white man was initially wounded, they wanted to heal him. So they brought him to where he could get healed, which was in that laboratory. And when they brought that white man to the laboratory, the Black Panther sister, she even said, something along the lines of, "Oh, so you brought a white boy here." And after the white man was healed, and when he woke up, the Black Panther sister had told that white man, when he woke up from that bed, after he was healed, he woke up, she had said to that white man, "Hey, colonizer," when she called that white man a colonizer. There's a message in that. Now, these small sentences, people will overlook it. They won't really think much of it. And I can understand that. A lot of folks ain't nitpicking and trying to analyze movies and stuff. But if you're like me, who knows that there's always some kind of hidden messages, always some kind of subliminal messages in these so-called black movies pushed to black folks for a reason. It's for a reason. So they also perpetuated black people, or the Wakanda people, these African people, to accept their foreigners, accept their colonizers, to accept white people. Don't question nothing. Don't question us. You just we are the world, and and just accept white folks. And in history, that really did hit us hard. That was a big mistake that our ancestors long time ago, centuries ago, made. And these white folks put this in the movie, pretty much promote this agenda to get black people to continue to accept white folks, to continue to accept foreigners, continue to accept people that are not your kind, continue to accept those that are not of you, continue to accept people that are outsiders. Don't worry about where they come from. Don't worry about what they what they trying to do, or what they might do, what they would may not do, etc., etc. Just accept them, because we are the world. Kumbaya, all this bullshit. Now, I'm not saying you hate white people or anything like that. I'm just speaking based on history and the mistakes that our ancestors have done in history, and how in the movie it's pushing the message that black folks should have that mentality to do what your ancestors did that led you to bondage. Do what your ancestors did that led you to enslavement. Do what your ancestors did that led you to be disunified. Fight amongst each other. Just fight and fight and fight. question each other, question, whether or not, they're, the next black man or the next black woman is of your kind. Question that shit. But don't question us, even though we white, even though we are not anywhere near close to being of the motherland. Like, what the fuck? So also there's this part where, the promotion of multiculturalism. The promotion of, like, not keeping your motherland, your country, your nation of African people for Africans. Not keeping it African. Just, accept all people of the world into your shit. Accept all people of the world, and things like that. Like that right there, that was some BS to me. Like, certain things should be kept exclusive. Certain things should be kept to your own and for your own only. Certain things should not be something you can share to just anybody. Share it to outsiders. Share it to anyone. Because the Wakanda people, you'll notice in the movie, at some point in the movie, that they were sharing some of their stuff. They were sharing a lot of the knowledge. They were sharing a lot of their secrets. They were sharing a lot with the white man. They were revealing a lot with an outsider. The outsider. The movie has this vibe going on, claiming that Eric is an outsider. They claimed that Eric is an outsider a couple of times in the movie, in certain scenes, but it never mentioned the white man being an outsider. But they did mention Eric being an outsider, though. A black man raised, or what should I say, an African raised in America, who has an African father, who's of Wakanda. They're still questioning this guy, though. And, when this guy initially beats the Black Panther and he enters the throne, all hell broke loose. All hell broke loose. I mean, there may be some things that Eric wanted to do that the Wakanda people, or some people of Wakanda, felt that it was it was not good, or it was against them, or whatever. Whether or not you felt Eric had good intentions, now that's on you. I'm not really gonna talk much about that, but the thing is that there's more question going on with Eric versus the white man. And when I say the white man, I'm talking about that guy Everett. Everett, not that other white man who had that Wakanda artifact that he wanted to sell. That if you, in that scene in the casino, that other white man, now that one, I'm not talking about him. Because that one, the Wakanda people really wanted to go after him and get their shit back because he wanted to sell it and they didn't want that. Now, that's not who I'm talking about. Speaking of which, that particular white man that had the Wakanda artifact and was trying to sell it, he symbolizes the true side of the white man. That particular white man, he symbolizes the white man that stole valuable resources, valuable goods, valuable stuff, artifacts from Africa centuries ago in history. That white man symbolizes that. He symbolizes the side of white people who stole artifacts from Africa and took it to Europe and pretty much kept it. And still today they have some artifacts that they stole from Africa centuries ago in various countries that they still have with them. They haven't given Africans back their stuff. However, Everett, the other dude, you'll notice that when you watch just about every scene that he's in that movie, you'll see that he's being welcomed. He's treated well. The Wakanda people were hospitable. These folks, even the spies and all that, even these warriors, they didn't have any shit against this man. They didn't have nothing against him. They purposely pushed that image of that white man being all friendly and having their back. Friendly white man. That buddy-buddy relationship. A friend, the buddy-buddy type shit of our history. He symbolizes the white man who successfully, went in and built a buddy-buddy bond with African people. So, the Black Panther movie, I personally feel like there's some subliminal messages that were placed there in a slick way where a lot of black folks would overlook, a lot of black folks would not think twice about it, a lot of black folks would not really, catch that message, and it was put in there to affect the black psyche, the subconscious mind. So This movie, with these kind of messages going on in the movie, some of it is the images, but it's more so the communication. As you're watching it, keep an eye open and your ears also alert on the communication and the images too, but more so the communication. Focus on the communication and watch and distinct the communication between the Wakanda people and Eric, the Black Panther and Eric, versus the Wakanda people and that white man, and the Black Panther and that white man. Who was more accepted versus who was, more, oh, you don't belong here. Oh, you shouldn't be here. Blah, 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 blah. Focus on those kind of stuff. I mean, most of you already watched it, and that's why you're listening to this video. To get some feedback and input about the movie and how some people saw it. But to those that haven't watched it yet, just look out for these kind of, hidden messages. Watch out for it. Because honestly, the subliminal messages in the video is, one, keep hating each other, Black people. Keep fighting each other. Keep on being disunified. Keep on, dividing yourselves. Keep on, being all, oh, you American, you're American Black, oh, you African, or you African Black, this kind of bullshit. Oh, and then there's this other message that, oh, keep accepting us, white people. Don't question us. You don't question whether or not we're outsiders. Don't question whether or not, we are somebody that you should be telling your secrets, or you should be sharing your valuable information about your people, information about the Wakanda itself. Don't question whether or not we are someone that, you should be giving out such important, valuable, information. Don't question that. Just accept us, just as your African ancestors did. They accepted us with hospitality. We came in, we were welcomed. We made friends with them, but then we went back, turned our backs, and enslaved them and colonized them. Don't question none of that. Just keep on having the same mentality that Africans had centuries ago. Keep doing that, Black people. Keep on having that same mindset. Oh, be all multiculturalist and never be exclusive. Never be exclusive. Oh, welcome, with open arms your people with everybody else in the world. Share all your shit with everyone else in the world. Don't be exclusive. Don't make it Africa for Africans. Oh, no, none of that stuff. Oh, just share with the whole world. Now, I don't have any issue with that part in the movie where the Black Panther made this Wakanda Institute. There's a part where he makes the area that his father, the Black Panther's father, the first initial king, happens to have a situation where he had to kill his brother. He pretty much made that, area in an institute of Wakanda in America, in California. I don't have an issue with that one. You can make African institutes and African museums all you want, but that part where it started to be all we are the world and shit, now that part I was like, that's some propaganda bullshit right there. Y'all trying to pull on us. I ain't stupid. I mean, some of us may not see it, but I sure do see it. So, you guys, when you watch this movie, keep an eye out on this stuff that I already mentioned in this video. Keep an eye out on this stuff. Keep an eye out on a lot of these subliminal messages that they're pushing out to Black folks for a reason. Because like I said before earlier in the video, white people do not make movies without a motive. White folks don't push nothing in the mass media, theaters, TV, etc., especially to Black people, without them having some kind of benefit to it. And it's not just money, it's the fact that they know that movies and music is powerful. Movies and music are powerful to the Black mind, to the mind in general. So white people will not make no pro-Black movie, so-called pro-Black movie, without any kind of hidden motive, hidden agenda, hidden subliminal messages that's against the good of Black folks. That's against the betterment of Black folks. That's why you see all this fighting going on with two Black men. But you don't see no fighting going on with that white man they accepted. You don't see no fighting going on. Only that guy, just that one guy, one dude who stole something from Wakanda, now that's understandable. But when it comes to them talking about who's an outsider and who's not an outsider, now that shit, why is it that this black man is being questioned about whether or not he's an outsider, and they deem him an outsider? Why is he considered outsider but the white man is not? You healed this man, you know, you pretty much had that eager to heal him and shit. But yeah, and you know, keep an eye and focus on the communication Eric had with the Black Panther and the Black Panther had with Eric. You know, the communication as both of them being cousins. You know, one is African American-ish and one is African, you know. And honestly, in real life, African Americans and Africans are kind of like cousins as well. But anyways, you know, be alert when it comes to their communication. And it's not hateful. It's not like, you know, they have hate towards each other, but you will see the vibe of an African American versus African type of thing going on. I mean, it's not a hateful one, but you will see it. And when you watch it, you understand what I'm saying. So this African American versus African vibe going on. That's what I saw, at least. And it really is what it is, because that's why the white man allowed it to be out there for black folks to watch, so they can be fed this divide and conquer bullshit. So they can be fed, you know, accept the white man bullshit. So they can be fed, be all hospitable to foreigners, be all hospitable to white folks. You know, don't question us when we come to Africa. Don't question us. You know, so they can be fed this kind of stuff. They can be fed, oh, worry more about the person that looks like you, that has the same skin as you. Question him about whether or not he's an outsider. I mean, the movie I kind of was like, well, maybe by outsider they mean that he's not from here. But technically he does, you know, he is from there by his father's side. Because if they were using that context of outsider, if that was the context they were using, then the white man should have also been considered an outsider and not just Eric. So that's how I found out that by the word outsider, the context they're using was not, oh, he came from some other country and came to Wakanda. Not. Honestly, there's a lot of hidden messages in that movie in general, and movies and music can indeed affect you psychologically and your way of thinking, your mind. You know, music especially, that's why they got all these whack music that really affects the black folks' mind. You know, there is a lot about that movie, and it's a very good movie. So, watch the movie if you want to. And when you do watch the movie, or if you have watched the movie, you know, you'll see what I'm talking about. You'll notice a lot of stuff that I've mentioned. You'll, you know, understand what I've been talking about. And if you guys have any comments that you want to add to or your own thoughts, you can go ahead and leave in the comment box. That's pretty much it for this video. Thanks for watching. Peace.